In this video, I'm going to break down a supplement brand called Grüns, which I'm sure all of you are very aware of. That's doing something most D2C brands don't even think about. They're running multiple different ad angles on Meta, and each one sends traffic to a different landing page with persona-based alignment. Not the same product page, not the same homepage, different dedicated funnels built for different audiences, different personas, all selling the same product and offer. And I'm going to show you exactly why this works, what each funnel does differently, where they get it right, where the gaps are that they could fix, and most importantly, how you can take the same approach and apply it to your brand. Because this is the difference between the brands that plateau and at a certain spend level and the brands that scale past it. Quick bit of context, obviously, on why you should trust what I'm about to tell you. I run Pain Digital. We are CRO and full funnel Shopify agency that works specifically with 8 and 9 figure D2C brands on everything that happens after the ad click. We've generated over 300 million incremental revenue, including brands like Cadence, Myomaster, Minerals, Revive MD, Natrava, Avantera, Gym Prolux, and many, many, many more. We build the funnels, the landing pages, we test the offers, and the testing systems that make paid traffic actually convert profitably. So when I break down another brand's funnel, I'm looking at it through the lens of someone who builds these every single day. So let's get cracking into it, okay? So obviously, as you can see here, I'm going to run you through everything in terms of 3 different ad funnels that we are breaking down here for Grüns today. And before I break down each one of the funnels individually, let me explain kind of why like this matters. Because most brands don't do this, okay? Most brands are running 5, 10, maybe 20 different ad creatives on Meta, different hooks, different angles, different audiences. They're all pointing to the exact same product page. The same product page, the same experience for every single person that's clicked. Now, saying that out loud doesn't even make sense. And when you think about it, it's actually insane. You've got someone who clicked because of gut health angle, landing on the same page as someone who clicked because of some sort of gene angle or GLP-1 angle. Completely different motivations, completely different awareness levels, but they're going to the same page. What Grüns are doing right here in front of you, and this is what I want you to pay attention to, is they've built dedicated landing pages that match the specific angle of the ad. The ad talks about gut health. You land on the gut health landing page. The ad talks about different types of pain points that the customer focuses on, okay, like GLP-1. And they also land on that exact same type of persona driven landing page. Now, this is what we call persona driven funnel architecture internally at our agency. And it's one of the biggest levers that most brands aren't touching. Most brands aren't even touching the ad persona driven creatives, never mind landing pages and funnels, okay? And I'm going to show you how Grüns have built all of theirs. Now, if we start with the gut health one, okay, I'm going to run you through kind of the ad, the creative, and then showing you and breaking down different sections of the lander. Of course, this is in a specific size that may not look mobile, but it's just to kind of show you the actual layout. That's the most important thing, okay? Now, here's the ad. Couple of things that I noticed straight away. They lead with ingredient density, 20 plus vitamins, 6 grams of fiber, and prebiotics. That stack value fast. That stacks value fast in a short attention environment, okay? Then they've got this line, 8 tasty gummies, all right? Which immediately removes the friction objection of pills and powders because they are a bit of a nuisance for some people and people don't really like them. You're not swallowing powders or you're not swallowing capsules and you're not eating, you know, dusty powder and trying to mix it in a drink. You're eating a tasty gummy and they try and kind of make that the forefront of their entire advertising campaigns. The benefit stack is broad. You know, you have energy, gut health, wellness daily, which casts a wide net for cold traffic. So it isn't really a niche. It's designed to catch anyone interested in the general sort of health improvements. And the CTA goes straight to the PDP, okay? Or sorry, the CTA goes straight to the landing page, not a PDP. And that's important because they're not sending this to a generic PDP that aligns to everyone. Now, one thing I'd flag is the ad copy and the creative have a slight message mismatch, and it might be on purpose. The copy talks about sort of energy and wellness broadly, but the creative and the landing page are fiber and gut specific. You could probably add the copy alignment to the fiber and poop angle. That would likely improve click through to conversion rates. Also, probably just better alignment on the actual messaging. So that's also worth them improving. Now, the headline underneath is Nourish the Gut with Grüns. Okay, so that's the headline on the ad. That's congruency. That tells you exactly what this specific landing page is about before you even click, and produces sort of good funnel alignment that we always like to do. Also notice the green bear versus the red bear, and it's holding the product, subtle product integration here. It's fun, it's quite like scroll stopping. The product is a gummy bear, so the brand asset is native to the product, which is pretty smart. The toilet and the poop humor works in the scroll because it may, if it didn't, it may turn off a premium health buyer, but it doesn't. They do it in a really cool way where it's actually the gummy and it's kind of funny. Now, if we actually break down also what they're showing here, we have the getting getting more fiber than 2 cups of broccoli every day. Okay, that anchors kind of that value to the familiar reference point of like broccoli being healthy and everything like that, but it's kind of like nasty in taste, and you can tell that that's something they've kind of went after. Um, Again, this is, as said here, problem aware audience, probably someone who knows they need more fiber or have gut issues. So this is a completely different persona than you would go for with someone who maybe doesn't have a clue that this is even a problem. Um, but again, that's why it kind of works. Now, if we actually move over to the landing page, now that we've kind of broken down that ad, you can see why it works really, really well. This is where the traffic lands, okay? So if we look at it here, as we can tell, we've kind of taken this online, but they don't actually have the CTA. That is a floating CTA right here. So that is something that continues with them the entire way down the page. Now, I want to show why that's important. They're pushing the reviews, members, and star ratings, which is pure social proof, as well as pushing the offer the entire way down the page. Now, there's reasons for that. Could be bucketing some warm audience into this, and that actually might work really well. You always want to sort of on landers mainly showcase an offer because most people are here to shop online and they want to get the offer and not be surprised by it. So kind of having this there the whole time is a good way to get them to that buy box or to the PDP, okay? Now the hero section, 6 reasons why Grüns is your guts new bestie. Gives the page a listicle style structure. So a listicle is usually like a set of reasons all listed out in kind of like a list. Really easy way to digest the copywriting. Really easy way to digest the actual page. And it keeps people scrolling with curiosity because there's always the next reason coming. There's always a reason that they need to sort of take this product and why. And that means that the top 1 to 2 reasons always have to be really key and really critical to like hook them in. And we always do this. Now, how they could improve this is also testing, actually starting with the number 5. So if it is, or sorry, 6, if it's 6 reasons, you could start with reason 6, reason 5, and go chronologically down the way instead. But section one opens with kind of like the better poops seriously, which mirrors the ad creative language directly. It's a strong ad to lander sort of congruence on the humor and the tone. Each section then follows a pattern. To be honest, it's more around like bold claims, short copy, and then the image is and the icons are always backing up what they're saying. And it's scannable on mobile here, as you can see, and that matters because 85% plus of Meta or Google ad traffic is always mobile when it comes to standard e-commerce brands. Obviously, you've got the odd one that is taking much longer than that, but or much more than that. But this one is specifically around that percentage, and I don't even know their actual bottom line metrics. Okay. Um, this section covers everything, and I think multiple of these sections kind of all tap into the different things in terms of digestion, gut health, energy, immunity. All of these things I would imagine they've pulled from their customer reviews, they've pulled from their persona driven research that we always do pre landing page and pre work with any CRO clients is we always dive into that. We always really break down what is it we're trying to understand, what is it we're getting from these landing pages and the split test that we're running, and how do we actually make this align to what the customer's awareness is or what issues they fall into. Okay, so it's really important that we look into that. But as you can see here, we kind of break this down throughout this entire page. Um, in terms of then moving on to the other sections, we've got that limited time offer that's always there, kind of pushing that urgency. I think you've got to understand that because the acquisition, this is an acquisition page, and we're trying to get them into that really, really, really cool offer that everyone I'm sure in e-commerce knows about, where they have like a low sugar and a sugar free. They also then run different landing pages and different offers in terms of like household offers. So they always try and push like a household offer of like buy one or buy two for a household. So it's really cool how they, as you can see here, 1 person and 2 people, how they run that. Okay. And then they always have the different variants and options alongside then the FAQs, which is one of the most highly interacted sections with on any landing page. Okay. So I want to make sure everyone understands that. but it's always backed by social proof, and that's something that I noticed they do incredibly well. But the main goal is trying to push them into sub and save because the LTV on the sub and save is about 2.7 times bigger than a one-time purchase based off some data that we have. Again, that could also change any time, so take that with a grain of salt, but in most cases that is what it is. Now, one of the most high converting areas of every single website, product page, anything is the product images and the drop downs. Now, people take these for granted, but every single thing here hits all the problems that I'm sure and the issues that they hear from customers, and it answers them for them. As well as the product images, this is a way in which people always scroll them. Okay, one of the highest interacted areas of a website, no matter what it is, always scroll the product images. So you can see here that they have multiple really cool ones, supplements, reviews, what to expect after taking it, some stats, and then kind of social proof showing the benefits of it. Key point of that is all of the things I just said. Social proof, stats, and then giving them the expectation. And when you give them the expectations and say, hey, 28 packs every 4 weeks, which shows the amount of gummies, how many times they have to take them, it then gets them into buying this and going, okay, I need to take this every day. I can take this on the go. It's tasty. I hit all of my benefits of it. Okay. Now, if we look at the next page then, which is a very similar sort of funnel, except it showcases the different ad that they're going after when um the ad is completely different to the lander that we were just talking about, but the lander is the same. However, they just changed and altered the wording and the interesting part of like what it is they're kind of getting. So it's the exact same page, exact same layout, pretty much exact same copy, but just changing the product or sorry, changing the angle of each part and kind of tapping into those different areas that people want to see for this different avatar, which is really interesting. So they talk about more on the lines of more sophistication, I would say, kind of drilling that the Grüns part is their perfect nutrition partner, especially on a GLP-1. So going after those people that are on those. And you can kind of see here that they're pushing still those benefits and the real kind of interesting parts of what they're saying, but feeling great every day is kind of that outcome driven copy that they're going for. And 20 plus vitamins for GLP-1 support. So going after those people that know that it's a perfect nutrition partner for those people on that product. The low carb is obviously something that they really valued with these types of people because they're trying to lose weight as well. But as well, and feeling great every day, it could be Titan, but it is a really specific outcome. And then um, same thing going to a different lander. Now they still do call out the benefit stacks, and this creative is obviously very different to the last one. So as you can see here, still kind of pushing some of the same winning angles in terms of the fiber and the cups of broccoli, but they've noted in here more about what's in it: probiotics, adaptogens, zero sugar, organic fruits and veggies. Still showcasing the gummy to show that it's nice and cool and like kind of cute, but also then pushing the reviews. And then they go into the offer and everything. Nothing's really changed apart from those angles and adding an extra statistics side where they're clinically showing it. Now, I would imagine if someone's on GLP-1, they probably want to know more about this. And they could also just be split testing this. But this is really interesting. 7 benefits GLP-1 users love about Grüns besides the poops. So they're showcasing that that's obviously a side effect that people hate, except this is like helping. Um, and making sure they call exactly what it is that they are on a GLP-1 or weight loss journey? Question mark. So like an open-ended question. Here's why adding our product to your routine makes a difference. Okay. So here's why adding this actually probably benefits you in a massive way. And then as you can see here, they kind of go into that different way of pushing all those different sections. And then they keep going to this GLP-1's new bestie, nutrition support made easy. So it's obviously something that people in GLP-1 obviously struggle with, and they've realized this and they want to make this the partner of that. And then you kind of go on to this next angle, which is it's a really interesting one that's obviously very, very niche in terms of what they're talking about. All of the kind of benefits are kind of the same. They still talk about the features and benefits of the product, except the hook is deliberately kind of like polarizing. 40 to 60% of people carry the gene variant, but only a fraction know about it. So it's kind of making sure that they understand that if they have the variant, maybe it filters out a very high intent people. Educated buyer, someone who's done the research is kind of who they're going after here. It's probably the most minimal of the three creatives. Again, kind of similar to the last one, except it's a massive kind of call out. And then it's talking about the exact things that are going to actually help with the absorption of the product. And that matches the sophistication of this type of buyer. As the single green bear again, kind of showing that. Um, as you can see, it has that call out badge. There's no product packaging shown in the creative at all, though. But except when they land here, I think that's kind of where they go. And because this is a really interesting angle, there's no real humor or anything on this. So because it's probably a really serious it's a really serious sort of illness or something that they do have on that gene. So it's just making sure that they know that. Now, here's where it gets interesting, okay? They're making sure that these people then are very sophisticated buyers that know probably about it, but they're then saying you have nutrition gaps and Grüns fills them. So it's not a dedicated page to kind of talk to that angle, but it's very relevant to the issues that they're stemming from because it's there's no mention of any of those MTHFR gene and those areas, but it straight away starts talking about social proof they offer, making sure that it's talking about the nutrition gaps, and again, social proof. So it's a lot more, I suppose you could say it's like trying to cover all the generic benefits and things of that, except it's trying to show the percentage stats and really back it up here, as you can see. It's going really much after the daily nutrients that people don't have, and they're calling out on the ad to get the click people with issues that they know have nutrition problems and nutrition gaps, and they're allowing persona driven angles at the ad to align with this landing page. And this landing page seems to cover more of those areas that they're trying to get in a wider kind of net. Okay, so it's a really interesting, unique experience that they're going for. And the top of the page kind of isn't really audience specific, but it is kind of audience specific in the fact of a wide scope of are you suffering from these problems? Are you suffering from these nutrition gaps? Here's loads of stats. Here's loads of things that we know you have. And they're talking a lot about the snackable, packable, tested. So it's set stats that kind of showcase the outcomes of taking the product. So it's a lot more, it kind of seems a little bit more like middle of funnel, bottom of funnel style of page where they are getting really unique clicks from the ads with like really specific problems. But when they land here, it's backed by a lot of social proof. It's backed by a lot of statistics and all around kind of going after that wide net TAM. So target audience market of you have a nutrition problem, which a lot of Americans do, going by the statistics that they've listed here. So it's a really big area where they can hit like three birds with one stone, just going after a bigger audience. But something that's really interesting, as you can see, I have done down the right hand side here, is they they really tweaked the copy and the fact of um still pushing a limited time offer, the 60 plus whole food nutrients and everything like that. But they say here, join 100,000 plus others filling nutrition gaps. So every single time they change these landing pages, they seem to tweak the messaging a little to align with what was clicked and what the angle of the page is. So it's really interesting that they do this. And I think that's something everyone can kind of learn from as well. Now, if we're then looking into kind of like why that works and why it works so well, we can kind of zoom out and tell you why it really matters because the specific sections of copy are interesting, but the principle is what's going to make you a lot of money here. Grüns are doing something that 90% of D2C brands don't do, and we notice this all the time within our zero profit audits. They're treating the post-click experience as part of their ad strategy, not separate from it, and I think that's where brands have a bit of a disconnect. Maybe they have a team on creative and a team on post-click. We kind of work with the team on creative and we look after the entire post click usually. So you can understand why Grüns double down on that. Now here's how I think about this for your brand. Look at the top 3 to 5 ad angles you're running right now in Meta. Ask yourself, does each angle have a landing page experience that speaks directly to the reason someone clicked or that persona? The answer is no, and for most brands it is. Okay, that's your biggest lever to improving ROAS and also dropping that CPA as you scale. Okay, so brands need to really look at that. And the second takeaway is use a templatized structure. Notice how all three of Grüns funnels kind of follow that same structure. Problem, education, social proof, offer, objections, really handling all of them, okay? And they're swapping the content while keeping the proven structure. So you can see that you have to prove the structure first, and then you iterate on those copy and angles. If you're watching this and you're running paid traffic to the same product page for every ad angle, you know what the alternative looks like, and you can see how dialed in the biggest brands that are scaling the most are through paid ads and paid meta. Okay, If you want us to do this kind of analysis on your brand, not Grüns, or a case study we have, just your actual funnel, you can actually book a free profit audit call, okay, with myself. I'll personally go through the post-click experience, show you where the gaps are, show you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and how we can potentially work together, or you can walk away with a feedback to implement to your team or yourself. There's a link in the description below. You can also click on the Miro board here, which I will link as well. Book a call, find out if this is kind of for you. Now, if you find this breakdown useful, I'd love you to subscribe, give us a like, drop a comment on what you liked or what you would like to see next. We break down real D2C funnels. I showcase what we do in our agency with clients, what works, what doesn't, and a lot of process driven content as well. So you can do this yourself. My name is Paddy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.